Countries need babies. Elon Musk is saying that civilization is going to crumble if people don't have more children. Elon wants everyone to have more babies, and he's practicing what he preaches. He has 10 children and counting. See, in order to grow your economy, you have always needed to grow your population. This is how it works. People work, they pay taxes, they provide value, they spend money. But the global birth rate is in decline. I mean, it's been declining for decades. See, the average woman had 4.7 children in 1950, but by 2020, that number had dropped to 2.4 children. But despite that decline, they were still having enough baby to ultimately grow a country's population. But now the birth rate is getting so low that a population might not be growing or even replenishing, to the point where you have a country like Japan where its total population is on the decline. And this could be a major problem.
Be cautious about civilizational decline and we have plummeting birth rates in most places, yeah.
And also plummeting resources.
No, resources will be fine.
See, if your birth rate falls below what's called the replacement rate, then ultimately your population will decline unless you bring in immigrants. And more countries are now falling below the replacement rate. Japan has one of the lowest birth rates in the world, with a fertility rate of just 1.3 births per woman. That's well below the replacement rate, which would need to be 2.1. Italy's birth rate is also very low, just 1.2 births per woman. That's the lowest ever. Spain's is now 1.2, which is below the replacement rate. South Korea's is the lowest in the world. It's 0.8 births per woman. Even China, one of the world's most populous country, its birth rate has fallen to 1.7 births per woman, which is also below the replacement rate. But first of all, there's a number of reasons why women are having less babies, like the rising costs of raising children, women's education and employment, and most recently, the growing trend of people delaying childbirth or choosing not to have children at all. Elon Musk has been a vocal advocate to have more children. He has said that the world needs more people to solve the problems of climate change and space exploration. Musk also said that he believes that having children is one of the most important things that a person can do. And he said that children bring joy and meaning to life. And this is a man who has had 10 children. But almost no one is actually thinking like Elon Musk, who also happens to be the world's richest person. Most people are thinking about the rising costs of raising a child. The average middle-income family with 2 kids will spend about $310,000 to raise a child that was born in 2015 from birth till age 17. But other estimates put that figure more like $1 million. And then there is a whole movement around not having babies because of the fear of global warming. This is an idea that having a baby is selfish because you're bringing a human onto this planet, which has a really bad future.
Launch Birth Strike. It's a group of people who will not have children because of climate change.
But why do economists freak out so much about the global birth rate decline? And what does a falling birth rate mean for the US economy? A study done by Pew Research Center found that if the current trend continues, the US workforce would shrink by 12% by 2050. This could make it a lot more difficult for the US economy to grow and prosper. Another factor of a declining birth rate is that it would lead to a decline in tax revenue. See, the US government collects billions of dollars in taxes from parents each year. And if there are fewer parents, well, there will be less tax revenue. And that would likely lead to cuts in government programs and services. And finally, the decline in birth rate could also lead to a decline in social cohesion. A study by the Brookings Institution found that a shrinking population can lead to problems such as crime and poverty. So the US will have to minimize the negative implications for the economy, and they can do this by making it more affordable to raise children, providing more support for working parents, and changing cultural expectations about having children. But hold up, there are some benefits of a declining global birth rate as well. Number one, a smaller environmental footprint. See, a declining birth rate means there will be fewer people consuming resources and producing emissions, and this could help to reduce the impact that humans have on our planet. And second could be a more educated and skilled workforce. See, a declining birth rate means that there will be fewer children to educate, which could lead to a more educated and skilled workforce that would boost economic growth. And when you think about artificial intelligence, this actually might really make a big difference. While the global birth rate is declining, there are some parts of the world where the birth rate is actually very high. One of these places is Africa. The average woman in Africa has 4.7 children, much higher than the global average of 2.4 children. There are a number of factors that contribute to the high birth rate in Africa. One factor factor is the lack of access to contraception. And another factor is just a cultural expectation that women should have many children. Developed countries like the US, the UK, and Japan are dealing with a lower birth rate and having to figure out how to incentivize women to have more babies. And the solution to this is often what's called a baby bonus. A baby bonus is where you essentially give a woman thousands of dollars to subsidize the cost of having a baby. But there is no evidence to suggest that these baby bonus programs are actually working. In fact, there is some evidence to support it can have the opposite effect. A study by the National Bureau of Economic Research found that a cash incentive program in Russia actually led to a decrease in the birth rate. This study found that the program led to an increase in the number of abortions and a decrease in the number of live births. Another study by the University of Chicago found that a cash incentive program in Mexico had no significant effect on the birth rate. The study found that the program led to a small increase in the number of births, but this increase was not statistically significant. There are a number of reasons why paying a woman to have a baby may not actually be effective. One reason is that it might not address the underlying reasons of why women are choosing not to have children. For example, if a woman says she doesn't want to have a child because she can't afford to raise them, then paying them a little bit of money will not solve the problem. Another reason is that it may just send the wrong message. It may send the message that having children is a financial decision rather than a personal one, which could lead women to feeling pressured to have children even if they don't want one. The declining birth rate seems to be in the headlines more and more and more, and while economists think that this is actually a really bad thing, you could also argue that with artificial intelligence growing so rapidly, maybe you can still have a high GDP output without needing as many humans in your country. But I guess only time will tell if that's actually true. But I want to know in the comments, what do you think about the global declining birth rate? Do you see it as a problem? And if so, what do countries and governments need to do? While you're at it, check out more of my videos and don't forget to subscribe.